Good evening, everybody. I'm Lindi from SciVision Medical. I'm the pleasure of joining you guys from Cape Town this evening. And I'm actually in the beautiful practice of Louis Trichardt. It's cosmetic dental here in the heart of Cape Town in Gardens. It's actually Table Mountain right behind me. You should have seen it earlier. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to get you guys ready. Make sure you're comfortable. Make sure you maybe have a glass of wine. Sit back because for the next 45 minutes or so, we are going to be indulged into some amazing technology from South Korea. We are very, very, very proud of this new CBCT, the Smart X. And Dr. Louis Trichardt was the first one to receive his Smart X in South Africa, in Africa. He's one of our first X-Men. We call them the X-Men, but he was the first of the Smart X. So Renso is going to introduce us. He's just going to lay the foundation tonight. So Renso, you can enter the stage, and then Renzo is going to introduce us to Dr. Louis Trichardt, and we've got a few surprises, well, some announcements for you at the end. We are actually joined by one of the MDs of Vatech. We're going to introduce you to him at the end. So please join us until the end. Renzo, are you there?
As Lindi said, thank you so much for everyone joining us tonight. I know it's been a long day in the practice and you've got family to take care of. And thank you for just being at this little informal and just a little nice chat as we will about machines. I know every day there's so many X-ray machines popping up everywhere. You hear words like FOVs and you hear words like AI, but nowadays you get AI in a microwave in a washing machine. Anyway, it's AI. So it's a very common used word, but if it works, it really, really, really works for you. So tonight we're going to talk more about Smart X, and as Lenny correctly said, one of my friends here, Louis, with me. So we started our journey last year in December when he decided, you know what, go for it, go for this, the X technology, to really go into building the endodontic treatment and the implant treatment. So yes, I can talk the whole night and I enjoy talking. My mouth is quite big, but tonight it's nice to show a guy clinical sheet cases how it actually did help him build and promote these practices and these things and how this machine works for him. So we do have quite a lot of machines in the range of the Vatech beautiful family from Korea. So tonight we'll focus on the X machines and show what the field reviews can do. And yes, when a lot of guys will sit down with them and discuss CBCT units with them, the question always is, what field of view should I get? And it's like when you walk into a macro, one of the stores, and you're so overwhelmed with all the TVs you see there, 40 inch, 50 inch, and these type of things. So obviously people want the whole and range, but are you into airway studies, maybe TMJ joints, sinuses? What would be your scope of practice, something you dream to be the next couple of years? That's usually our discussion when we go in. So to show tonight on this little PowerPoint here, what the features you can have on this X family. So we're proud partners of Vatech. These guys are really, really, really developing phase and not just doing what they can do today for you. They're really waiting to you in the future, what you can do going forward and grow with you as a family. So CBCTs. The family called the X, and then we point at beautifully, we say our X-men, people for the X range, or like the X series BM. So the three models we've got in that family, the Green X16, Green X18, and the Smart X. So basically that means what field of view do you want? All the same machine essentially. Could have actually showed a camera behind the Smart X behind me. However, when I sit down and we discuss what's the scope of what's your dreams for your practice, you would see that it's not just one FOV in these machines. They can basically cover them all and soon maybe making coffee and toast as well. But for now, they all do the normal standard, as you know, 5 by 5 for a little quadrant, and 12 by 9, which is a very nice case, going all the way back towards your airways, but just enough under the sinuses to handle the normal dentistry range. If you want to go into upper sinuses, you want to go to TMJ condyles, etc., then obviously the 16 by 9, or even the big boy called the 18 by 15, as we call the Green X18. All of them will help. So when you buy this machine, it enters quite a lot of information through there. It's firstly a 4-in-1. So of course you have all your pan features, your SEP, your CBCT, and you get this little thing here called the model scan. So you have a little called model that you just click on there instead of your normal pipe lock, and you can scan your models. Obviously it doesn't Doesn't replace your intraoral scanner, of course, but for a ortho guys or just quickly want to do a placement, this is a beautiful tool to have. So you've got multiple FOVs in one machine. You get green time, green scan time, which means on this green axis, you can do a full CT scan in about 3 seconds. You don't have to stand there with the patient quite long. We've got now a new endo mode, which means not only do we have a 5x5, we've got a 4x4. I'll show you now physically what that means. So I usually explain to the guys, if I buy my new Canon and Nikon camera and I've got my macro lens to zoom into that flower, your little 5x5 feature is very nice for a quadrant, but a 4x4 even goes to a much lower resolution, like an even bigger macro vision, lens, if you will, that you can add on that. We've got Insight. Insight is a huge, nice feature as well, that if you do want a panoramic image, you can basically just select 41 layers of a pan and just move your mouse over the area, just to see the little hidden third canal behind if you don't want to go for the full CT. Okay, so we do have segmentation, which means the CT unit now can automatically scan the teeth in this model and detect it from the difference between teeth and bone, if you will. So you can virtually extract the tooth and plan that in immediate placement if you want to. And of course, we've got AI implant planning, and that's where the word AI comes in. It will actually help you decide what would be the best fit for all the different planes, which Louis will going to show you now on his machine. Smart X has got a standard feature of 12x9. And if you guys don't know, that we use by year about field of use, 12x9 usually always means that 12 is your horizontal one. So it can go much further than that impacted WYSI behind you, that airway studies you want to get into, and then about 9 centimeters of height that you can cover. So we've got a different model as well called the Smart Plus. So the big difference between the Smart Plus and the Smart X. Smart Plus and our different units though have got a fixed chin rest, which obviously means as the patient moves up and down, the head moves up and down with it. However, in the X family, you've got adjustable chin rest, which means you can obviously A, move the unit higher if you just want to do a quick sinus shot you can plan. And secondly, with the Smart X, you've got an optional double scan feature where while the patient's standing still, we can scan the mandible and the maxilla, and the software automatically will stitch that for you into a big 12x14. What a big, nice scan for that extra planning without having to upgrade to quite a bigger model. So if you want to do stuff like ostium, sinus arteries, full sinus capture, and still have the mandible in, which is beautiful. And then the 4x4. Here's a big thing though. Of course, people want a 12x9 for the first visit where the patient comes in, you want to get a full layout. However, if you do want to capture just a certain area, any machine in the market currently can do a 5x5 for you. You would just choose the region of where you would want that 5x5. However, the Dream X and all the X family machines does not ask for the area, it asks you what tooth do you want. So not only is it currently the smallest voxel size, which is your 3D pixel, if you don't know, to help in the detail and the sharpness, it only also focuses on one single tooth. And when we position that machine that way, it will definitely plan to get that root and that crown in for that tooth. So it's a phenomenal, small, focused area for the 4x4. The Smart X machine also has an additional feature called Smart Focus. A nice tool to have, some people use it every now and then, that if a patient comes in, you want to take one scan, automatically the machine will take the normal 12x9, an automatic pan, and 3 4x4 images of your choosing in one exposure. That's quite a nice feature to have everything in one plan, and then from there on plan afterwards without having to retake. But of course, if you want to just afterwards call a patient for that one selected root canal, you take a proper, even higher resolution 4x4 just in that one tooth. But for a first visit or for a full planning, 5-in-1 scan is quite a very nice feature to have. On Smart X, even if you don't have a double scan, you still have enough field of view because you've got an adjustable chin rest, as I mentioned. You can still take a singular TMJ from one left or right without having to go for the bigger machines. You still have that nice feature. And then here comes the word AI again, better than the washing machines. We've got Davis, we call it the Siri of Vatech, the machine that thinks for you. So when I click and I say, please segment for me, The software automatically, as I mentioned before, goes and finds all these teeth, numbers them for you, and makes a separate model on them. That means automatically the software then will show you what's bone, what's teeth, and as I mentioned, you can virtually extract these or do it for automatic planning. And then the additional feature, which Boss Louis here will show me much better than he's the clinical genius, will show me how this helps you. But because why I segmented, you can see we removed the bone around it. We just had a little tooth we can rotate. So now we can physically go live in real time and plan that canal right to the apex and even almost see what radius you end up with. I think we thought that you can use your CT to check what your finishing file would be. However, and from there, as mentioned, you can even do your airway studies. It's easy as two clicks in the top and the bottom, and it'll work out a full radius for you. As I mentioned, it's 4-in-1. So just a little side note, all our machines include the normal standard band still between, so you can do it. So we'll never replace the periapical sensors, but it's a phenomenal feature to have two cropped, zoomed in pictures of a between. And obviously the between is not just a cut out pan, it works in orthogonal view, which means it shoots every tooth right from the front, that you don't have that normal pan overlapping, if you will. They give you a video image of the betweens. Lateral and frontal TMJs, lateral sinuses you can do, and the optional, if you want to add a new rapid safe arm, you must unfortunately know you can't make your coffee. When I mean it's too quick, it'll take about 2 seconds for your safe. So of course we've got a lateral and a frontal safe APPA. And then we have got a program called the Easy Ortho. And here comes Davis again. So it's got a full orthodontic planning program. It's not just simply the tracing, where you can build and manage your record sets, where you can import all your images, and obviously link with the Vatech software, the EasyLens database. And in here, you can use any tracing method, Ricketts, Steiner, or you can call in Dr. X. You can design your own one and plot. And you can just do the manual trace, or you can ask Davis, if you can see how quick it is. You say, I want to choose Ricketts, or as I said, you can do your own designer mode. And at the top, you'll see you've got a start tracing manually, or you say, Davis, can you please do it for me? Are you sure? Yes. TikTok, before you actually reply to one of your WhatsApps, you will see the tracing is basically done. All your points, and you can do your analysis chart immediately. And so there, everything is calculated for you. I don't even know why it's still called a tracing. You don't even have tracing paper, but I mean, it's quite a convenient tool for you to have it very quickly. Okay, so that's if you guys can go into the safe mode as well. And of course, you can superimpose your 3D photos in there, do a lot of nice video imaging and all the extra tools you would like to have to communicate with the patient. And then supply with that will be I'm going to show you briefly, is your EasyDent Eye software for all your 2D plans, your pans, your sets, your database management, and then the latest Easy 3D Eye that has all these nice, beautiful tools we can play with a bit now. Okay. So very briefly, I want to show you if you had a Smart X, just to give you an idea, that's a normal, typical, still very good 5x5 image you'll find if you choose a certain region. But if I shoot the same one in a 4x4, then you can clearly see that your defined lines and your apicals and that small little hidden canal will pop up beautifully and crisp if you have a smaller, as I told them, like a macro lens, if you will. Okay. So this is your normal 2D software program where you can just manage your database, find your patients' names, etc. Acquire all your images from here. If you want to take a CT, a band, etc., or model scans. It's a nice, easy workflow. EasyDent works in a way that you select a patient, take the new X-rays, view what you've just taken, your X-rays, and then if you wanted to discuss and you want to show the patient, I need to do an apicectomy. And if they say apo what, you can show them the images in the left-hand side, and you've got multiple, over 260 videos where you can just select a certain procedure, and you can just bring it in there immediately. It just helps with your consult discussion. And lastly, if you wanted to, we've got a built-in reporting tool where you can literally have your leg testing in there, drag your images, create a report as the way you want it, and you can, as easy from here, just email it straight out of Just email it straight out of your software to your referral or your medical aid, etc. You don't have to use your Word and Excel. That's quite convenient. So if you click on a 3D program, it will jump to this Easy 3DI as mentioned software. Now in Easy 3DI, that's your normal size of a 12 by 9. So you can see we can reach quite far in your standard image. You've got your sectional view, as you guys know by now, that's slicing as they call it. I usually say it's like a big loaf of bread and a bread knife. You can decide you want to cut it in a different way. You can even say, for instance, here, I want to see in that canal what's going on there. So even I can say, yeah, then draw a curve, give you a couple of ideas. And I can use a sectional tool now to fly down that canal and see where it's popping up. However, why would you want to do it here if you've got an X machine, the extra features? You've got this extra big tools here on top. One, a 3D pan that makes your pan look psychedelic for the patient. They very love to see this view. We should understand more or less, especially when we show them the tooth impacted medially or distally and or buccally. You can basically show them then how this will look in this view. But from there, I can just jump here. This little thing pops up all the time. Come on, this video. You've got your segmentation. As I said, you tell this program here, can you please segment my tooth for me? Automatically scan, find all my teeth there for me. Sorry. And then if you go click on, I can't get this thing away. So if you click on, you've got built-in tools like orthodontic surgery, where you can click on, if you want to do orthodontic planning, orthodontic, you can cut and slice if you trace your mandibles, but that's obviously a little bit of a bigger field of view. TMJ joints, where you could plan your TMJ. And then you've got the endodontic feature. And because I said we segmented the teeth, we can say, please take the bone away. And all I have now is my teeth. Now, mind you, there's still a 12 by 9 image, and you can just move over the area. And clearly here, you've got a much more defined, and this is still on 12 by 8. But because I took maybe one of those little smart features, we can do 5 on 1, I can say, smart focus, switch on. And maybe in this case, I selected 3 lower ones, and I can say, can you please just jump to that one, please? Now, because of the one image, I can just quickly jump to a 4 by 4 without having to retake another 4 by 4 image. So now I clearly have quite a small little area, much more detailed focus. And if you go to endo, your detail here would be significantly higher. So yeah, it's not in a point where we have just, as I mentioned, just a CT that can do all. It must help you making your life easier, less guesswork, less know exactly what you need to know. Don't wonder, is that alveolar nerve going to be quite close to my implant? Is that canal really going to find itself? Where is that end of block? We don't want to have these extra tools and still more or less guess. So of course, we'll have much more detailed software training than these things we'll discuss later. But I think with all ado, I would love to involve Louis here and show you, since you bought it in December, it was quite a big faith move buying one of these machines, Louis, just before Christmas, and see how this is going to change your practice and we're going to go from there.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Renzo, for the introduction. Like Renzo said, I took the leap of faith at the end of last year. I bought a Smart X, and it absolutely changed the way I practice. Yeah, I just want to show you guys a few clinical cases to explain what I mean by that. So the first one I want to show you guys is a endo case. So those of you that know me will know that endo is not my favorite subject, because I felt from a 2D X-ray, it's very difficult to see all the canals, to look at the anatomy, and then I spend time digging in someone's mouth to find the canals, and that's just not fair to anyone. So since I've had this CBCT, endo has completely changed for me. My protocol involves a 4x4 endo CBCT with a very small field of view. So basically what I do, I will take this X-ray. Let's just put the segmented teeth off. So I will take this X-ray, and then I will have a very clear view of the canals, even before we start the root canal. So no more looking for an MB2 or any of those things. I'll be able to identify them even before the time. So you will minimize the access cavity. And yeah, so I just want to show you guys how we draw these canals. So you'll see I've already drawn the mesobuccal and the mesolingual one. So just to draw them, you literally pick on the canal, you go down the tooth.
Just scroll your mouse wheel.
Yeah, just scroll, go down. There you can see the anatomy very clearly. All right, all the way down until we find the apex. And this will also give you a very nice working length to start from. So basically what I'll do is I'll put my apex locator on, and from there we will start the process. So very, very nice tool to help you with root canals, identify any lateral canals or missed anatomy as well. I also use it for retreating canals. Very nice to see that there's additional canals that you've missed and all of those things. So it just makes root canals much easier, much less stressful, and I think also more predictable. You can also verify your obturation afterwards. You can take the same field of view CBCT to have a look at the obturation and see that it's adequate. So yeah, for me, this changed endo. I'm doing endo again. So thanks, Renso, for that. The next case I want to show you guys is an implant case. So I do all my implants guided, with fully guided. So my workflow is as follows. This is for a single molar implant case. So if the patient will come in, I'll take an intraoral scan. Any open source scanner that would produce a STL, you can pull that into your implant planning software. So I'll take the intraoral scan and the CBCT. From there, my technician and I will do the implant planning together. I would say a very good technician is just as important as a CBCT. So find yourself a Tarzan out there to help you. So my technician makes these fully guided stents. So I place all the implants prosthetically driven. There we go. So this is just when in 3 months' time, when the patient comes back, I'll test the integration of the implant. We'll do a soft tissue scan and a scan to pick up the implant position as well. That will superimpose on a CBCT of the integrated implant. All right. This all goes to the lab. So in his designing software, this is how it looks. You'll see he can have the levels of the bone everywhere, and that helps him pick the abutment height and also to prevent anything from compressing on the bone. So from a design point of view and from an implant planning point of view, I use it for both of them. All right, so I actually want to go to a case now. Let me just go out here. We'll go to a case that I want to show you guys. So this was the pre-op CBCT. So this patient, it's a 31-year-old male patient. He came in with a extracted 3/6. And yeah, he wanted an implant, which makes it quite interesting is that his dad is a dentist. So the pressure was on. And I just want to show you guys how we will plan the implant, and the Davis AI can actually help you to place the implant as well. So you can either do it manually or you can do it with the AI technology, which will just give you a sort of idea of where to place the implant, which is a nice tool to show the patient and to help the patient also communicate with the patient and sort of sell the treatment. So you can import your intraoral scan as well. In this case, I did import it beforehand. So you will see that it's already there, just to save a bit of time. So there you'll see I've already imported the STLs of the upper and the lower scan. All right, and this implant, I've already placed it, but just to show you guys, let's quickly delete this one. All right, so yeah, I just want to hide the lower scan. All right, there we go. All right, so for example, if the patient comes in with a necrotic tooth and we think endo is not a possibility, we can even virtually extract the tooth. So we'll say extract the tooth. We want to extract the 4/4, and the program will extract it virtually for you. So it's a very nice tool to show the patients. I've got a TV monitor in my room as well. So everything goes up on the screen and it's an interactive process with the patient so they understand better. Then to insert the implant, there's two ways you can do it. You can either, so this is the 4-4. We'll do a smart implant placement. So the Davis AI will do it for you. I use Neudent implants, so we can just go to Neudent. Let's just use that one, for example. And there we go. It puts it into position. It's not always perfect. Obviously, you as clinician have to have a look at the positioning and see that it's in the bone and it's in the correct orientation and so on. But to help you show the patient as something for an interactive tool, it's very nice for them to be able to see this.
So when you use the AI planning, obviously it scans all three axes, the axial slide, the sagittal, and the rodal for you to see where the bone width will be in all different directions. Yeah. So although it's a lot of times phenomenally accurate, it still onus obviously on you to make sure you're quite happy. And most of the time there's very little adjustment needed. Yeah. Whereas Louis is going to show you now a manual click, where obviously you just have to click on which area you want it, and then you just from all different axes, then just adjust yourself manually. Yes, a nice little extra you set extra Davis tool.
Yes, so let's, for example, just delete this implant. So to do it manually, there's an option as well. You just insert implant.
So you can also add on the guide and the path, so you can manually choose this if you want to. So when you actually export it now with the model for the lab, you can send them the STL with the guide, path, and all the information for you.
All right, so there you insert the implant, and then you can just go to your different views to move the implant into the correct position. And from there, you can send this to your lab technician to create a guide. Or if you don't do guided surgery, just to help you position everything better. And you can also trace the nerve, so you can know that you're away from the nerve. So for out of a patient safety point of view, it's also very beneficial for the patient. And from a clinical point of view, it's very important to get it into a prosthetically-driven design. So it just helps putting the implant in the correct position. I have to say that patients love to see this. So it's a very nice tool to communicate with the patients and to show them exactly how implants work, how they look, because most patients don't even have an idea how an implant looks like. So yeah, from here, I'll send this to the technician and then we'll design a stent to do the surgery. So I also use the endo function sometimes for implants. For example, if there's a case that the implant is very close to the sinus, I'll take a 4x4, very accurate CBCT, and we'll do our planning from there. So yeah, that is more or less how I use it in clinical practice every day. The endo has absolutely changed the way I do endo and to see canals a lot better. No more guessing or searching inside of the tooth for the canal. And then obviously for the implants, to put them in guided, it's a no-brainer. So yeah, that's it from a clinical point of view.
Some guys, when they buy a unit, they decide that they take a lot of bands and if they can't see anything, they will just opt to go for a 3D. But if a new patient walks into your room, how often do you take CTs as your normal practice?
So I will take a CT for most of the patients. With the program actually gives you a reconstructed 2D image as well. So you have both of them. Good for record keeping. And actually I can show you another case. Just let me just open the post-op of that implant. So when the implant has integrated, I'll take another CT and then I will send that CT to my technician as well. And he will be able to I'm not sharing. There we go. So I'll send a CT scan of the integrated implant as well, and we pull that into the design software so we can incorporate that into our design as well. So I will take CTs for most of the patients on basically every visit. The field of view allows you to see a lot of things. So there you can see the integrated implant and the soft tissue scan we did. And this goes to the lab so that they can start manufacturing the crown. So yeah.
I think that's the mindset being changed now. If I got a lot of guys going into the 3D world now, they still find there's an endo canal, they see the endo, there's an implant. But I mean, it's a study a while ago we read from Finland where they say over about 96% of the scans, they find secondary findings. Yeah. And that's the nice part when you've got a new one walking a new patient and you can say, listen, Mr. Jones, even if I don't charge you, which of course you do, but even if I don't do it, if I can show you the whole complete case. Let's see what's going on in your mouth from left to right. It's amazing when you see little impactions, little little cracks somebody wouldn't have picked up, but
Yeah.
apart from the obvious normal pain.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions from you guys? If you want to know a little bit more, what would you?
Here's one. How do you determine vertical restorative space since you don't have a diagnostic or digital wax up?
All right. When we determine the implant positioning, the technician does a wax up beforehand. When I send it to the lab, the technician will do on this picture slide here, you can see he'll do a mock-up of the crown in occlusion. And from there, we will go down and we will plan where we want the implant. So everything is prosthetically driven. So yes, we do have a diagnostic wax up, if that answers the question.
Secondly, where do you position your sleeves in the planning?
So that depends on a few things, depending on the width of the implant you use and which brand of implants you use. So I use Neodent. They come in two platforms. There's a narrow and a wide one. This is a wide case, so there's two sleeves we use, and yeah, also very important that you have a good technician because they sort out the sleeve position. If that answers it.
Dr. Martin, I appreciate your question because that's one of the biggest things patients do not know when they actually want to have when they do have an X-ray taken, how much dosage will they get. So usually on the previous technology of CTs, you were looking at, but on average, 200 to 300 microsieverts for a normal 8 by 8 or a 10 by 8 and something like that. So while we bring CT, is not just because we like the color, but the green dose, which means not only do we make the scan time faster, we can bring a bigger one right down to about 80 something microsieverts on average, and get that down to so put it this way, I think from a 5 by 5 wanting to pants, you can get sometimes down to on a 5 by 5 down to almost 60, 50 microsieverts, which we explain to the patients. That's usually about the exposure nowadays of about 3 to 4 pans, and even a little bit less. Or explain to them in different English if they it's the same as a flight from here to England for a CT, or from here to Pretoria from Cape Town for normal pan exposure. So the dosage are significantly less. Do you need a full report done for each patient on a CT?
Yes. So, Prashant, to come back to that point, yes, you do need to write a radiological report for every CT you take. I use a company called DiagnoCat. It's an AI-based platform. I run every X-ray I take through there, which gives you an AI report. I do not, however, exclusively use that. I will obviously have a look at the X-ray myself, and sometimes you need to guide the AI into a direction. So, yeah, I will run everything to DiagnoCat, which gives you a report, but obviously you need to sign off on that report. So, yes.
What does this cost per report?
So DiagnoCat charges a fee for up to 10 exports, or up to 20 exports, up to 30 exports. So it depends on how many cases you want them to report on. I can send you guys more info on that, but yeah, it's really helpful to have that effect.
Yeah, I think so most people also by standard now, that's why the Smart X becomes so popular, because when the original X machines came out, you only had the 16 by 9 and the 18 by 15s, but people are quite convinced in that time, which is what's scared is, as a normal dentist, I've got this big sinus region and I'm going to do all these little things. So more or less now with a 12 by 9, your biggest field would be basically just a 3-dimensional pan area without the diagnostic needs of sinus, unless that's just speciality, which you obviously can diagnose yourself. We are going to do way more clinical cases and training via diagnostics and these things going forward. But regarding reporting, 12 by 9 has been the most popular size to see everything from all impactions right out of wisdom teeth without having the need of going higher, unless, of course, you need so. Our plan from here onwards is obviously having different type of training from here as well. It's very much easy to see what the machine can do for you. And for a lot of guys, when they invest in technology like CT, for many, many years since university days, it's been so straightforward learning how to see a pan. It's quite straightforward, lies next to it. But some guys, the first time they open up a CT, they feel like a DJ. They just spin that skull of nobody what they're looking at. We've had people coming to training, having machine for 2 years, not knowing how to draw an elbow and a nerve, how to do your implant planning from there on. So we're very serious about education, where certain nights you can see what type of machine and a family you want to partner with. But more than that is what after. How to take this training to the next level with say, okay, right, let's do implant or endo planning, or how would you do these type of things? How do you do the billing? How would you do all these type of things as well? It's very serious questions, these things. We'll give you obviously right next to the machine quite nice banners and posters to show the patient all the dosage and stuff that can be safe around. My questions, we have to help. The Smart X basically will be in closing. The Smart X, the reason that machine is determined one of our most popular units yet is because for every procedure, from a 4x4, 5x5, 8x8, 10x8, 12x9, you really cover the whole spectrum, whatever your needs will be that day. The patient walks in for the first time, let's take a full 12x9 and say everything. If you know the patient, it might be a second CT because of the low dose. You just want to verify for a certain area, maybe a section will be enough with a lower dose. But you do have that whole range of not just having one. And of course, and with the adjustable chin rest, as mentioned, if it's just an individual case, if you're a specialist for that reason, you always want a bigger case to see all the big areas. But if it's in an exceptional situation, you can just move the sinus or to that area as mentioned. So you do have the complete freedom that one machine can really cover them all. Okay. Mr. Eric.
Yes. My name is Eric. And then let me share my screen once, may I?
I got a dish and a pot of jam. Plop jam on my leg. Plop jam on my chin. Plop jam, jam, plop jam. 아빠 다시 찍어줘.
This is my second source.
Yeah.
So why I'm sharing this is, with these kids. Actually, I'm sorry. Thanks for Dr. Ruiz. Actually, you are using our machine. It's a lot better than us. Thank you for teaching me how to use our machine well.
No problem.
Actually, why I'm sharing my son's little video is I'm going to ship to South Africa with my family. So to use CBCT, I think you should purchase big fancy machine, but most important thing is you should use it in a right way. I think you should have a proper training and the proper support from SciVision or from Vatech side. So I'm going to be there to support training course. Every last week of Friday, we are going to have a training course applying in UWC every month. So Vatech, we are going to be there to support you. That's it. Thank you. Lindi, I think you can talk about last Friday program.
Yes, so I maybe just take this opportunity quickly tell everybody what happened last week. Eric was actually here. Something really special that we need to share with everybody, that Vatech are really, really increasing their presence in South Africa. So we really feel honored that the chairman has appointed Eric to actually come to South Africa and actually move his whole family to South Africa. We're very, very excited about that. So Eric will be living in Cape Town very shortly. And
Yes.
imagine how much more support there will be from Vatech. And they really have displayed their commitment. I don't know if you guys have heard maybe in the news that Vatech have donated a GreenX 18 to UWC. So we celebrated that last week. MEC was there. Even Frank came down from Vatech UK. It really was a very special day. Special visitors, they cut the ribbon and everything. And I'm sure Renso will testify to how much the staff are enjoying it. And other than that, it's obviously a wonderful collaboration, and we will be hosting a lot of training, not only for UWC, but for every member of the Vatech family. So you guys would be encouraged to bring your team, yourself, every first Friday of the month in Johannesburg, every last Friday of the month in Cape Town. We will be hosting software training. Every couple of Fridays will be a clinical day where we'll get somebody like Dr. Louis or Dr. Brian Sher, Dr. Philip Johnson or Dr. Jacques Ferreira, many of our trainers who will be hosting more clinical focused training. So that's heavy focus of Vatech and SciVision. So we're very happy to announce that. Actually, it's already live on our website. If you go to scivisionmedical.com/events, you can already book the first couple of software training events that we've diarized there. Obviously, we have many other trainings, so look out for that. I think there was one more question from Dr. Marcus Molokome.
Yes. Yeah.
Saying, thanks, Louis. Do you use the traditional apex locator less now with apex measurements and canal diameter determination? Have you found any discrepancies between the software and the apex locator?
That's actually an interesting question. No, I still use the apex locator for all the canals, for every file. It just makes the initial hand files that you go in with, you know, the length a lot better. So no, to answer the question, I still use the apex locator, and I haven't found a discrepancy between the software and the apex locator. So I take a pre-op and a post-op 4x4 of all the endos, but I haven't found any discrepancies yet. I'll keep you guys posted.
The cost per report?
So they don't charge per report. They charge in quantity. So for example, you can get a package of 10 reports or 20 reports or whatever your needs will be. They also do reporting on two-dimensional pans, even periapicals. So it all depends on the package. For example, I've got a package that has X amount of 2Ds and then X amount of CBCT interpretations. But it's broader than that. It also, you can also export your CBCT in a STL format so that your technician can incorporate that into design software. So it's a very nice program. I think they're definitely going to be very big eventually. And yeah, the use of AI in the industry is just getting more and more and more. So it really makes reporting a lot easier and a lot better, I think.
Thank you very much to Louis Trichardt. It's nice to see these young guns coming through. Thank you, Eric, for your investment in South Africa. We look forward to your family moving down here, and we'll play some more paddle. And for those of you dentists who are up to it, we're going to be introducing some Vatech SciVision BioLays paddle competitions around the country. So start stretching, just make sure you don't pull any muscles, you know. And I have had one or two more private questions about radiation dose and so on. So Renso did mention it, what a CBCT is worth a flight and so on. But another way to also look at it, because one question was, what is a typical periapical? That's about 3 microsieverts, which is equivalent to eating, looks like about 30 bananas, okay? And if you want to compare that to a normal 2D pan, that is about 17 to 20 microsieverts, which is equivalent to about 170 bananas. So who would think that bananas have got radiation? But they have. And then a CBCT is equivalent to about 370 bananas. So just to show you, going a normal periapical, 3 microsieverts, a 2D pan, about 170 microsieverts, and a CBCT, which is probably looks like the size you have about probably a 16 by 9 or so. So a bit bigger than your average sort of 12 by 9 that most general dentists would use, is about 37 to 40 microsieverts. So it's not quite, obviously nowhere near what the older X-ray machines are of a decade or two ago. Nowadays, I think the value of the clinical benefits you get from taking the CBCT far outweigh the dangers of any radiation dose. So if you're spending time on a flight, flying anywhere, or spending time just in the natural radiation or eating certain nuts, there is in any case natural dose. So nowadays, especially from Vatech 2, that's why they call it the Green X technology 2, the doses are considerably less than they ever were of X-rays of the past. So they're becoming much safer. The same applies to our handheld X-rays. You know, the safety aspects are also credited by governing bodies such as CE and FDA, the South African radiation dose. So nowadays, a handheld X-ray, and I think, Louis, Dr. Trichardt, you've got one of them, the Easy Ray. So holding those, it's double lead lined, and it's safe enough to hold as long as you're obviously aiming it away from you. And compared to, yeah, that's it. And also nice and user-friendly, cost-effective, because you can carry it from surgery to surgery, and you don't have all this clutter of a big bulky X-ray. And the big bulky X-rays are The typical wall mount is single lead lined, so there is scatter coming out the side. So that's why you do need to exit the room. But with the handhelds, the safety built into these with the double lead lining, etc., makes it very safe to hold, as long as you're obviously aiming it away from yourself. Does the patient still need to use a lead apron and so on? Yes, because the radiation, textbook, the governing body says you should still use it, and obviously safety first. So yes, the patient does still wear a lead apron. But thank you very much, Louis, once again. And thank you, Renso, for your part, your presentation and your knowledge. The guys in Cape Town are blessed to have you, Renso. But don't worry, we are right alongside you, here in Johannesburg and the rest of the country. So good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us.